Moment of a lifetime. After his tour, BTS's Jin stuns fans with a rare reunion at a seaside restaurant. But what really happened inside? Who could have imagined that just hours after stepping off the stage from his final tour stop, BTS's Jin would vanish from the glare of stadium lights, only to resurface somewhere no one expected, a quiet, windswept seaside restaurant? Why were all 6 other BTS members there, waiting for him, without a single staff camera in sight? And why did those who caught glimpses of the scene describe the atmosphere as different, almost sacred? The evening began without an announcement, without a press release, without even a social media teaser from Big Hit. It was a moment built on pure chance and secrecy. For years, ARMYs had dreamed of a reunion where the members could just be themselves, away from schedules, away from scripts. But this night had layers. It wasn't just a dinner. It was something that hinted at deeper conversations, unspoken emotions, and a shared history too vast for words. Eyewitnesses say the restaurant, a small coastal gem with only 12 tables, was lit by nothing but warm, golden lanterns. The crashing waves outside provided the only soundtrack, a stark contrast to the deafening roar of arenas Jin had just left behind. At exactly 8:47 p.m., a black van pulled up and out stepped Jin, still wearing the soft beige sweater from his post-concert meet, hair slightly tousled from the sea breeze. But what made fans freeze wasn't his outfit. It was the figure waiting by the entrance, Kim Namjoon, leader of BTS. Arms folded, half smile on his face, the kind he wears when words aren't enough. Behind him, shadows began to form into familiar outlines. Jungkook's unmistakable stance, Jimin's sharp silhouette under the restaurant lights, V's slow stride, Suga's cap pulled low, and J-Hope's bright grin despite the dim glow. All 7 members, together, not on stage, not in a photo shoot, but as brothers in a place that smelled of salt air and grilled fish. But why here? Why now? One diner, who claimed she had been at the farthest table by the window, whispered to local media that the moment Jin stepped inside, the noise in the restaurant seemed to vanish. The members didn't shout or rush for hugs. Instead, they stood in a small circle for several seconds, just looking at each other. It was like they were catching up without words, she said. It felt private but powerful, like watching a family that had been apart for years and didn't need to ask each other how they were. And then came the first unexpected twist. The restaurant owner, a man in his late 50s with salt and pepper hair, closed the entrance door and flipped the sign to private event. According to sources, he personally served the members a dish not even on the menu, freshly caught sea bream, steamed in bamboo leaves, a recipe passed down through his family. When asked later why he gave them that particular meal, his answer was cryptic, because it's a dish meant for beginnings, not endings. But beginnings of what? As the night went on, no one was allowed to approach the table, but the flicker of candlelight revealed enough for sharp-eyed witnesses. J-Hope leaning forward, talking animatedly with his hands. Suga, listening quietly, occasionally glancing at Jin with something between pride and nostalgia. Jungkook laughing so hard he had to cover his mouth, Jimin's hand on his shoulder. RM and V exchanging a look that seemed to carry a silent plan. And Jin, sitting at the center, relaxed, occasionally closing his eyes as if absorbing every sound around him. At one point, a sudden gust rattled the glass windows, and someone, it's unclear who, began softly humming. It wasn't a song any bystander could identify immediately, but ARMYs Online later speculated it was an unreleased melody Jin had once teased during a live stream years ago. The hum spread until all 7 were quietly singing under their breath, in perfect harmony, as if no time had passed. The reunion was more than dinner. It was a chapter turning. The question is, turning toward what? Some reunions are loud, chaotic bursts of laughter and noise. This one was different. The air in the seaside restaurant that night carried a strange duality, warmth and weight. If anyone thought this was just about sharing a meal, they were mistaken. From the far corner, A waiter later told a friend that the first half hour felt like a gathering of old friends who didn't want to waste their first minutes together on small talk. They were just present, he said. Sometimes that's more intimate than anything. But the stillness didn't last forever. It began with V, who broke the silence in his deep, measured tone. Though the exact words were lost in the murmur of waves, those seated nearby caught fragments. After this, we should. His voice trailed off before he leaned closer to Jin, and the two shared a quiet exchange that had Jungkook's eyes widening slightly, as if hearing something he hadn't expected. J-Hope, ever the mood maker, clapped his hands suddenly and laughed. The sound was sharp against the otherwise muted background, and for the first time that night, their table lit up with visible smiles. Suga's shoulders relaxed. Jimin leaned in, elbows on the table, giving his full attention to Jin. And RM, the leader who always seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken responsibilities, rested his chin on his hand, watching each member as if committing every detail to memory. Then came the dish that shifted the mood entirely. The restaurant owner emerged with a large ceramic pot, steam curling upward, filling the air with the scent of garlic, ginger, and the ocean itself. As the lid was lifted, revealing the sea bream resting gently in its bamboo cradle, Jin's expression changed, softer, distant, almost nostalgic. He thanked the owner personally, bowing deeply, a gesture that spoke volumes to anyone who knew his grounded nature. But the most intriguing moment came when Jin, before serving himself, used the wooden tongs to place a generous portion on Suga's plate. The act seemed casual to outsiders, but armies online, analyzing every detail from secondhand accounts, argued that it was a silent nod to their shared beginnings, from the cramped trainee dorm days when they'd share whatever little they had, to now, when they could choose anything in the world, yet still found meaning in sharing. What happened next has already become a point of speculation in fan forums. A staff member clearing a nearby table overheard something, a line from Jin, spoken clearly enough to catch the ear, yet cryptic enough to send chills. It's almost time. Almost time for what? Theories exploded. Was Jin hinting at a group comeback? A special performance? Or something far more personal? The conversation flowed more freely after that, laughter coming in waves, punctuated by moments of quiet reflection. Jungkook pulled out his phone at one point, showing something on the screen that made Jimin gasp before playfully swatting his arm. RM, half smiling, tapped the table rhythmically, as if forming the skeleton of a new beat in his head. V leaned back, eyes fixed on the moonlit horizon beyond the glass, lost in thought. And then, another twist, a small tray arrived unannounced, carrying 7 ceramic cups and a steaming teapot. Not tea. The scent revealed it instantly. Yujacha, a Korean citrus honey tea, known for soothing voices and calming the body after strain. But here's the curious part. The cups were already engraved with the members' names in delicate calligraphy. When asked later, the owner insisted he had not prepared them. They brought these themselves, he said. Why would BTS bring personalized teacups to a secret seaside dinner? Some fans believe it was symbolic, a quiet tradition they've kept alive over the years, even if the world never knew. Others think it was a planned gesture, part of a larger promise they've made to each other long before this night. As they sipped slowly, the sea outside roared louder, as if nature itself was leaning in to listen. The candles burned lower, casting shadows that danced across the walls. The members didn't take photos. They didn't post updates. They simply stayed in the moment, undisturbed by the clock.